We are here in New York City. I'm with the man himself, Mr. Tunde Ajayi. How are you feeling? You've just watched a light heavyweight unification. Artur Beterbiev now has 3 of the 4 belts. What are your thoughts, Tunde?
Yeah, exciting. Great performance by Mr. Beterbiev. And what more can you say? You know, he's continued his KO streak. And he's got Mr. Yarde next.
I think this is the first time, you were telling me that this is actually the first time you've watched Beterbiev box. So you've watched a Russian monster there, right? Well, that's what everyone's saying. He's knocked out every man he's ever boxed. He's 37 years old, storied amateur career. What did you learn about Beterbiev in those 2 rounds against Joe Smith last night?
Well, you know, it's very difficult to tell. You know, as I said, prior to this, I hadn't really studied him. My thought was always, you know, establish who the winner was going to be on the night and then take it from there. Now, Mr. Beterbiev gets my full attention. And I was expecting him to be a bit faster last night. I wasn't impressed with his speed, you know, matching him up to Anthony's speed. Obviously, the power's inevitably there, but it's who's in front of you. You know, Joe Smith is not Anthony Yarde, and Anthony Yarde is not Joe Smith. Different proposition, and it will be a different story. But in terms of what I saw last night, it's okay.
What did Joe Smith do wrong?
Well, you know something, and I have to say this. You know, nobody gave Joe Smith a chance in America. And I was, maybe just the way I am, the way I'm built, I was rooting for the underdog. And I actually said Joe Smith was going to stop him in 2 rounds. That was my prediction. And I think Joe and his team obviously had a game plan, although it didn't look like they had a game plan. But they probably had looked at Beterbiev's only few errors in his career where he'd been dropped. Both of those droppages, if that's a word, droppages.
It is now.
yeah, I just made that one up. But both times he's come up short or been dropped, they've been very early in the fight. So I guess Joe Smith's thinking and his team's thinking was go after him early. And fair play to him. He went out there. You know, I would never discredit a man that puts it all on the line and goes for it. You know, it's so funny how before the fight, because we've been there, before the fight, everyone is saying this guy's a live dog, he's a punch and everything, and now people are trying to discredit him, but really, he did what he had to do, and he had to go for it early, because we all know that at this level, at the elite level, boxing skill plays such a huge part, and Joe doesn't have that. You know, without being disrespectful, you know, he's got heart, he's got will, he's got tenacity, dares to be great. But at this level, you need boxing skills. So we threw the kitchen sink, the proverbial kitchen sink at Beterbiev, and he come up short.
You mentioned Joe Smith's skills there and where he came up short. So what are the skills that Anthony Yarde has, and what are the problems that he can put in front of Beterbiev?
I've always said the people still haven't seen half of Anthony's skill set. The only people that have seen it are the people that are in the gym, people that have sparred with him. He's a special individual. Why do I say that? Because he only had 12 amateur fights. And not only has he already fought for a world title against an elite champion who happens to be Russian as well, he's now about to fight for 3 belts, unified. Now, pardon me if I'm being philosophical, but the world doesn't give out rewards to people that don't deserve it. It just don't work like that. You know, Anthony's a special individual, and he trains hard, and he lives it, and he's making full use of the gift that he's been blessed with. And I just feel that because of that, it's going to be an exciting night. You know, a lot of fireworks, and Anthony Yarde will win.
Well, that's the first thing Anthony Yarde said immediately. I got his reaction, and he said, Yeah, that's what I'm going to do to him. So
I said that as well, funny. That's funny. I said the same thing. We're gonna do the same thing to him, because I keep saying it, you know, or I have said it in another interview that it's like WWE. In the minds of many kids, that stuff's real. You get what I'm saying? They probably see man jumping from the top. Sorry, I'm going into the. I got it. But you see people jumping from the top rope, turnbuckle, and elbowing man and rolling all over the floor. You start believing it. You know, as a kid, we all thought it was real. It's not real, and so Beterbiev's been painted as this monster. You know, someone that's just a machine, but that's not to me, not to Ant. You know, and that's why we took this trip out here, because we had to see him in the flesh, and we're very confident.
Does it excite you more, the fact that he is painted as a monster, that he does look like a monster, that Anthony will be a big underdog in this fight? I've looked at Twitter, I've looked across social media, everyone is writing him off. You won't get many picking Anthony Yarde to beat Artur Beterbiev. Does that motivate you even more?
100%. 1,000,000%. It's just like the second Arthur fight, you know. And I said, Pat Brown made me dig into the ground and work the hardest I've ever worked, and that was at that level. You know, we're talking about 3 belts, and so what people have said has never really bothered me. I'll be honest with you, because I'm just too focused. It just goes in one ear, as my dad would say, drop on the floor. In one ear and drop on the floor. I don't care about all that. I don't care what people have to say. I only care about positive people and people that have good things to say and supportive things to say about myself and Anthony. And even if they didn't say anything, well, it's just the work's going to continue. And so I, as a trainer, are so motivated for this moment, for myself and for Anthony Yarde most of all, because I know he's going to do it.
Is it the right time? Is timing key here, where Anthony is, I guess he will be 31 when this fight happens, if we're talking about October.
Yes.
Beterbiev will be a few months off turning 38.
Okay.
Anthony will be in his physical prime, you would think. How key is the timing around all of this? Do you feel as though the kind of like the stars are aligning and that this is the moment?
Everything's timing. Go back and watch my interviews years ago. Everything is timing, and you know, I think it was the inexperience of myself, our whole team. You know, the first time round, you know, we were just so cocksure and confident, you know, that we didn't even need to study other fighters. We just believed in ourselves to the point where we just felt we was invincible. And so that first loss taught us a lot, taught us that experience is actually key. Even though you can have the greatest knowledge, you can't rush time. And it's the right time, absolutely. You just look at how this is all played out. You know, it's been a journey. It's been such a journey, and again, we're here. So this ain't no magic. This ain't no abracadabra. Like, we earned this. We deserve to be where we are, and we've stayed focused. We've never criticized any other fighter. We never called out any other fighter. And yeah, maybe it is that. Maybe it is serendipity. Maybe it is the stars aligning. Maybe it is. But whatever it is, it's nothing that we've forced. It's come. Well, I always call him the magic man. Frank Warren has worked his magic again, and I feel now's the time, in terms of maturity, for Anthony, skill-based, having that time in the gym, because you learn in the gym, you don't learn in the fight. I've always said this, and people may look at me crazy for that, but you learn outside of the gym, and you take what you've learned outside of the gym into the ring. You prepare for an exam through revision, and then you take the exam. So Anthony has been given time now to learn his craft, learn how to pace himself, stay focused, and everything is time, and the time is now.
Again, just looking across social media, because you get a gauge of what the fans are thinking. there's a lot of clamour for a Beterbiev-Bivol undisputed fight, and people are saying, "Oh, Anthony Yarde's getting in the way of that fight. That's the fight that we want." What would you have to respond to that?
People can say what they want. It's a free world. It's a free world, free country. You know what? The thing is that when people are ambitious and things present themselves to an ambitious person, you don't look on social media and say, "Oh, they said we don't deserve it. We're taking that." You know, don't want to get into that, but you know, it's a business as well, and so sometimes you have to make tactical decisions in order to move forward. Sometimes you might just stay where you are, but for us, it's the right time, and we don't want to look at anything else but this unification fight. It wasn't me that said it. It was Bob Arum and Frank Warren that said that the deal had been done. You know, Anthony Yarde was due to face Artur Beterbiev in London, providing that he won, and he won last night. So people on Twitter, Instagram, and that, really, they're not relative to the decision that we're finally going to make.
Tell me about this sparring. So you were offered sparring with Beterbiev several years ago, and you turned it down. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's funny. Mark Ramsey messaged me on Facebook. Obviously, I think we had just come back from Dallas, Texas, on the Canelo bill. You know, and I guess Mark saw the talent from there. You know, very early in Anthony's embryonic stages of his career. You know, and he messaged me on Facebook, and he's like, "Yeah, can you come over to Canada?" And I always remember Martin Bowers, because I just aired him. Sorry, I just ignored him. Yeah, I just aired him. And I remember Martin Bowers from the Peacock Gym coming to me and says, "Oh yeah, they've been on to us to spar," because Oval McKenzie was going out there as well. And then Frank, I think it was Frank or someone from the office, phoned me and told me as well. I said, "Bro, why would we spar someone that we're eventually going to end up fighting?" And maybe I had a magic ball. Maybe I just was so confident that Anthony would be here one day that it just seemed silly to let a future opponent gauge you, because that's what I'll be doing. If I sparred with anyone, or if I called someone to spar that I knew could be a potential opponent, then I'm looking to see what you're about, you know, because you can, if you're a trainer that's got a good eye, you can see things far enough. So I didn't want to give anybody that kind of advantage or step over Anthony, and I feel that was a right decision by me at that time, because we're here now.
But on the flip side of that, had you have taken that sparring, it would have been elite level sparring. Is there not an argument that would have brought Anthony along a little bit? And in the same way that Beterbiev may have seen parts of Anthony's game, Anthony would have seen parts of Beterbiev's game.
If you were a trainer, Dev, and you had a young buck come in, and that young buck beat you up, and you was holding a world title, as a trainer, would you fight that young buck that beat your guy up in sparring?
I definitely wouldn't. No, no, probably not. No, it's an interesting point.
So there's certain things, you know. That's why maybe I've always been looked on as a bit weird, but this weird person has maneuvered someone that I care about to the point where he's fought for one belt already, and now he's about to fight for 3 belts because of the decisions I made as a manager. Sometimes at a headache of Frank will be like, come on, Tun. You know, and I don't need to follow the same blueprint as everybody else. I don't need to follow the same route as everybody else if I don't want to. And it's just one of the things I've never had, and that's where all the sparring thing comes from. You know, we don't spar and what have you. No, it's not that. It's just that I'm very selective because it's war. You know, and in the art of war, you don't let the enemy see what your hand. And that's how I'd always approach this sport of boxing.
So if this fight all happens in October, which is what we're hearing, do you expect Anthony to fight before then? Do you expect him to have a little run out? Or do you think he'll head into this fight with the, I guess it's inactivity, because his last fight was December last year. It will be 10 months heading into this fight. What do you expect is going to happen here?
How many months did George Kambosos wait before he fought Teofimo Lopez? Yeah. No, come on, tell me.
Yeah, look, he waited, and I agree with you.
How many months?
Several.
He waited 13 months, to be precise. You know, again, it's just my way of looking at the sport of boxing. You don't remember. I'm not silly. You know, you always need a man who is a man who knows a plan, and Frank Warren masterfully has got us into this position. And so I don't want my ego to allow Anthony having the opportunity to fulfill a dream he's had since he came into boxing, because I just want a few quid. I don't care about, I've said it, and I should stop saying it because I do care about money, but I don't care about money at the expense of someone not being able to fulfill their dreams. And in that respect, I'm ready to wait, Ant's ready to wait for this moment that 99.9% of professionals never get the chance to even attempt. And again, look at our background. No, we ain't got no Olympic medal. We didn't medal in the Olympics. We didn't medal in the ABAs. We're just two guys who had a dream, who has a dream, and with the great help of Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions, and our own hard work and graft and belief, we're here.
I think Anthony's self-belief is you know, it's elite. He's got an elite mentality. You can see that. But the thing I want to just point to is around the first Kovalev fight, and Canelo had his eyes on Kovalev,
yes,
and Anthony was offered some step-aside money but turned it down. Yes. Have you guys talked about that since? Because obviously Anthony lost that fight. He could have had all that money from Canelo as a step-aside. How do you look back on that whole scenario? Do you feel as though you did the right thing?
Well, at the time it was the right thing, because, as I said, legacy is important to us, but legacy don't pay the bills. That's the hindsight. Legacy doesn't pay the bills, and sometimes when you're guaranteed, you know, if you're guaranteed a shot, most people would just take the step-aside money. I know Jack Carroll took the step-aside money, but then he got jobbed in the actual fight. So it's like you're back at square one. So it's like, and now he may never, and I want you to hear me well, he may never get the opportunity to fight for that belt again.
It was all four, wasn't it? It was all four belts. Yeah.
He may never get that opportunity, and I don't wish no bad on my brother, my young brother, Jack Carroll, because he's a beautiful human being, and Jamie Moore, I wish them nothing but the best. But you can see life is about choices. And sometimes the choices that you make for financial gain can end up being the choice which doesn't allow you to ever fulfill the dreams or even attempt to fulfill the dreams. So at that time, it was like, bro, fam, sorry.
You can fam it up with me, it's okay. I've been around you for several days now. I've been called bitch ass and all sorts, so yeah. Oh, you can fam it up with me, it's fine.
It was like, at that time, you know, myself and Andy was like, bro, we don't want that. Bro, we're going to knock this brother out, and then we're going to walk off into the sunset and prove everyone wrong, you know, and that was a humbling experience for us. More so, it showed, again, the mentality of Anthony Yarde. You know, because as much as I would want it about to be all about me and me having a ego, my actions have shown that Anthony's always the person I put first. And so fast forward to this time round, everything's about calculated decisions. Everything. You know, this time me and Anthony would sit down, the whole team would sit down, and we will see what's right for us. We're not going to act out of emotion, you know, because when you do that, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we just see, you know. But for us right now at this moment in time, we're not even entertaining that idea. Camp has already started. It started at 4 a.m. this morning, and we're looking forward to it.
Finally, how does Anthony Yarde beat Artur Beterbiev?
It's a cliche. Everyone's gonna say just beat Anthony Yarde. you know, that's always the same answer. But it's just destiny. It's just destiny, and that's how I really look at this thing here, because this whole thing is unexplainable. There's no human being that can explain how two guys with no generational background in boxing could have already fought for a world title in probably one of the most roughest areas in Russia, to now about to fight for unified belts. No one can explain that. And so Anthony Yarde does not need to change anything. He just needs to keep that same belief, train his damn arse off, and focus. And if he does all that, which I know that he will, it's going to be a real wonderful night, and one that I'm going to be over the moon. And, again, I remember the first time round, I spoke too much. And I remember, I look back now, again, all this is experience, Dev. I look back and, there was me on the table, George Warren, Kovalev, Anthony Yarde. And I remember looking at Buddy McGurk, and I'm thinking, fam, why? Sorry. I'm thinking, bruv, why is this guy up here on the table? He's a trainer, he's just sitting down, I remember, with his hands crossed, just listening to us lot talking. And you know me, I'm not shy to talk. But now I can look back at that and say, yeah, I learned something from that experience, where not everybody can talk, but sometimes when you can articulate yourself in a manner where people can understand from both, a certain environment and another environment, then it's easy to talk. And this one ain't a talking thing. I want to keep the same vibe, the same energy as I did for the Arthur rematch, whereby actions speak louder than words. And for this one, we ain't going to change nothing. We're going to go in with the same mindset, look to bruck up a man. And ain't no talking business. It's just not that. It's not that time. The talking has been done. The talking, in some ways, have got us, to this position. The talking and the fighting. But what more is there left to say other than let's have a good fight? Beterbiev will be respected far more than I respected Kovalev. Because I didn't respect him. I did not respect Kovalev. I was like, bro, we're just going to go in there and just dominate. And so I've learned as a coach, and now I've got experience or an experienced guy, an older guy around me in James Cook, to actually lean on, learn from, and ask for advice. I never had that before. So the whole team is here to support Anthony Yarde. And in the past, where it was just me and then I brought in Coach Ade, who by his own admittance would tell you, well, I never knew nothing about boxing. I just came in because of me, because I believed in Ade. But I saw something in Ade which was special, and You know, he's the, I don't like to say number 2, but he's my second pair of eyes. But now having James Cook, everything is timing. It's just all come about at the right time for Anthony. You know, Anthony's got a great support system around him now. And the time is ripe. The time is ripe. No talking. Let's Ant go in there and just do what I know he's going to do.
All right. Well, look, it's been a pleasure being with you in New York. And yeah, all you can do now, get down, knuckle down, and yes, camp has begun. Tunde Ajayi. Till next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dev. And your oratory skills are getting better day by day. And I know I'm going to see you up there on the panel one day, mate. It's great. What a journey, eh? What a journey.
It's all timing. It's all timing. Cheers, Tunde.